Before this starts, I would like to say that apparently, or while looking for research on this, Technolarp's Twitter account is completely gone to my knowledge. I cannot find it. It might be privated, it might be deleted. I'm completely unsure of that. I'm sure by now most people know about the recent LARPing uproar. It's a big trend. If you somehow don't know, then let me explain quickly. Basically, a bunch of people on the internet are pretending to be other YouTubers. So fans of YouTubers are pretending to be other YouTubers. They're live action role playing, which is LARPing, as YouTubers, but they're mostly pretending to be them in their prime. So instead of pretending to be Markiplier now, they're pretending to be Markiplier 15 years ago, stuff like that. The most well-known example is probably Larpaplier, mostly because Markiplier did technically give this guy permission to do what he's doing, but one LARP tuber has gotten himself into drama recently. The name of the YouTuber is Technolarp, which is supposed to be the LARP version of Technoblade, a very famous Minecraft YouTuber who tragically passed away a little over 4 years ago. Obviously, this has caused some division among fans and garnered quite some attention with people like Penguins or even some of Technoblade's friends giving their own takes. Technolarp reached out to Technoblade's dad, also, I'd like to mention, and he practically asked permission to play pretend as his dead son, which is wild when you think about it that way. And he didn't do it once, he did it multiple times, which we'll look into Techno Dad's response to this in a minute. I want to quickly just talk about my own opinion and cover a lot of other takes people have made. I don't have a problem with a lot of LARP tubers, as a lot of them are very unserious, and I don't think they're even that harmful. But I think LARPing as someone who passed away is an odd thing to do. Of course, you could just consider this a fan tribute, which a lot of people defending this have said, but it still feels off in some sort of way. I think a part of it is due to how recently he did pass away. Take something like an Elvis impersonator or a Michael Jackson impersonator. There's thousands of them. There's hundreds of thousands of these impersonators out there, and nobody really has a problem with it, mostly due to the fact that these people died so long ago. But think about this. If Elvis died 4 years ago, do you think people would be happy with Elvis impersonators? No, I don't think they would. Or if Michael Jackson died 4 years ago, would people be happy with Michael Jackson impersonators? No. I think another thing that throws a lot of people off is it's hard to identify if this truly is fan content. I mean, the guy is putting on a voice changer to sound just like him. I'll now show Charlie's take on this situation.
By integrating yourself in that way, beyond just making like videos that are kind of tributes to the content, or like, you know, just meant to entertain and remind people of like the incredible work that Technoblade did, it just feels over the line. At least to me, it does.
I think that fan-inspired content should be fan-inspired content. I agree with Charlie on that 100%, where Technolarp does feel like he's trying too hard to be Technoblade, when all the other LARP tubers outside of like the LARPing Tombstone, I would say the LARPing Tombstone is very, very similar to the Living Tombstone. But even then, their content feels like a tribute. It feels like they are their own person, and it feels like they're just inspired. They're not trying. Where Technolarp, it feels like he's trying to be Technoblade. Where all these other LARPing tubers, it feels like they aren't trying to be the YouTubers. They're just trying to make something very similar to what these YouTubers used to be, for example, right? And that's why I think a lot of people don't have a problem with them, because 2015 Markiplier doesn't exist anymore. It's not 2015. So if somebody's pretending to be Markiplier from 2015 and it's very unserious and it's very, like, it's so obviously just a fan tribute, who cares, right? We have some replies on the Dexterdo post here on Twitter, and they do raise some questions about Technolarp. One of them from this guy named Pack saying, is this honoring Techno or just profiting off his death? And then this other one from XOS Play that says, bro blew up using a dead man's voice and legacy, and then he had the audacity to ask his grieving dad, hey, can I continue role-playing as your deceased son? The internet is deeply unserious. I do definitely agree, and this raises a good question. Is he doing this as an honor thing in good faith, or is he doing it for profit? Even if he is doing it in good faith, it still does feel very, very weird. Now, let's move on to the Skeppy thing. Also, apparently, Technolarp said that 50% of his profits would be donated. He's not making anything yet, but that's like, oh my god. If that's true, I don't know if it's true. This is alleged. This is all alleged. If that is true, That's disgusting. 50% of your profits are going to be donated, and the other 50% you make off of pretending to be a dead dude is going into your wallet. Doesn't make any sense to me. And also, we haven't seen any proof of this. If he does start making money, I want to see proof of this, right? I want to see him actually do this, because if he doesn't, then he's just lying. He's lying in my eyes, right? Anyways, that's all I wanted to add on here. Skeppy recently collabed with Technolarp. And listen, I understand that Skeppy was probably a good friend to Techno, and I'm sure he cared a lot about him, but I find it quite strange that you would go out of your way to collab with somebody pretending to be your dead friend. That does feel very off to me, and I just don't understand why Skeppy would do this. It's hard to tell if he's trying to profit off of this situation or not. Skeppy has had a big fall off over the years, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was just doing this for views. I just can't understand why anyone would want to hang out with somebody pretending to be a dead friend. I just don't get it. I seriously don't get it. It could be a grieving thing, but even then it just feels a little bit weird and doesn't really make any sense to me. Now, let's get on to Technodad's response, as he came on to Reddit, and this is what he wrote. He said, "I've been avoiding addressing this for a while now. I just don't know how to react to this. I mean, certainly it's flattering to Techno, but like, what am I supposed to do? I will say that Technolarp has reached out to me on a few occasions to get my take on things. I feel like if he hasn't responded after the first try, stop reaching out to him, right? That's when you just stop it and shut it down. If you want permission to do something, you don't keep on doing it while asking for permission, right? That doesn't make any sense." Anyways, continuing on with his response. "I've been putting it off for a while. I just don't know what to say to him. Lately, I've been feeling very much like I just want to hide in my room and work on scripts and space visualization software. Some days I don't go outside. It's very peaceful, and I really haven't had enough peace in my life. I feel a little guilty for how I've kind of disappeared from the community, but I know I'll come back at some point. Anyways, my response is inconclusive. I'm still ruminating on the whole thing. I don't feel like bad that Technodad isn't engaging with the community or anything like that. And I don't feel like he should feel guilty, because it's not his job, right? It's not his job to engage with the community, all right? It's just not. Like, that's out of the question, and he doesn't have to. He could easily just go off the internet permanently, right? And people would respect that, because his son died, man. His son died, and that's a very difficult thing that he has to deal with. And I understand why he wouldn't respond to Technolarp. Personally, I don't think I would either. I think I would have a very difficult time responding to Technolarp, and if I did respond to Technolarp, I would probably ask him to stop, in my opinion. I think it's completely fair for him to not know what to do. It's a really rough topic, and out of all people, he would know what Techno would have wanted. I believe that he probably has the most opinion in this, right? And I do think it's strange that Technolarp just hasn't waited for Technodad to respond. He just keeps on pushing out videos, right? He's not waiting for permission. He's just going. He's just pushing it out. Now I'm going to show you some more responses to this. This is from Tubbo and Sneegsnag. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, which are two friends of Technoblade. Tubbo said in a tweet, he said, "Is it safe to say I'm really not a whole fan of this LARP account trend thing? It just feels off." Sneegsnag said, "You're not a fan of a dude impersonating your dead friend? I know, right?" Now, personally, I 100% agree with them on not being fans of Technolarp. I'm sure they feel grossed out about this, but I don't agree with Tubbo thinking that like LARPTube, like he's kind of grouping LARPTube as a whole, where it's like a lot of this content does just feel like fan tributes. Like, not a lot of people are trying to get profit off of this. A lot of people seem to just be doing this for fun, because they do actually care about the content creators they watch, you know? These are very impactful people to them, so they're making tributes. They're making tributes, right? And I feel like a lot of them are very respectful. Like, once again, Larpiplier asked for permission from Markiplier, and he basically got it, right? He had Mark's regards, and he keeps on doing it because of that, and I 100% believe he would have stopped if Mark told him to stop. But Technolarp, I think, is where most people, including myself and a lot of others, do draw the line. But hey, let me know. Do you think this is a fan tribute, or do you think this is impersonation gone too far? I think it's a little bit too far. I think it's just a little bit in bad taste. It's not very good faith. And I mean, like, the responses, people don't agree. People do not like this, right? Of course, Technolarp has responded to all of this, and I'll basically just sum up his response. He said, "I'm an obvious knockoff," which doesn't mean you should keep doing it, right? And it's like, you're going as far as to use a voice changer. You're trying very hard to be somebody you're not. I think it's just time that Technolarp packs it up, right? Like, it's clear not a lot of people like this. You have a lot of very negative press about you. A lot of people think what you're doing is disrespectful. A lot of fans believe what you're doing is disrespectful. But you know what? Hey, make your own opinion on it. I'm not trying to change any minds. Make up your own opinions. Don't follow what I just say blindly. You have a brain of your own. You can think for yourself. That's all. See everybody later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.